Hi, welcome back to WebTech Lab. Today's lab session we are going to see about your basics of jQuery. So let me start with the basics. jQuery is a JavaScript library. I repeat, jQuery is a JavaScript library. What is it used for, you might be asking? So it makes your JavaScript functionality much simpler by calling user-defined or predefined functions that are there in jQuery. So the basic syntax of jQuery is going to be like this: dollar symbol selector dot action method. Okay, so I repeat, the basic syntax of jQuery is going to be in this format. It's going to be dollar selector dot action off. So here the selector is going to be the CSS selectors which we have already seen in our CSS, right? It is used to select any particular component of a HTML page. So the same functionalities which we use for CSS is also applicable over here, and actions are the various methods that are available with jQuery. So in quick samples, I can tell you what are the various selectors that are there. Say for example, dollar star refers the universal selector wherein the entire page is getting selected. This will enable to select a particular component. P dot intro will give you a selection of the paragraph tag where a particular component intro is going to be there, and here the pseudo classes are getting selected, and a particular element is being selected in this particular one, and in this a particular attribute is being selected. Likewise, a particular attribute and the corresponding value is being selected. Likewise, jQuery selectors could be used for any of the selection of the HTML pages. So you might be wondering why we are going to select these things. This is to imply whatever JavaScript functions which were able to do earlier using JavaScript. The same thing we are trying to do with your jQuery. It is much simpler using your jQuery. Now quickly going on, what are the various events that are available in jQuery? In JavaScript, we used to see something like on click, on double click, on mouse enter, on mouse leave, all these kind of events. Whereas in jQuery, it's going to be just click alone, right? Click method. So here, where does this click is going to come? Click is going to come in the action part. So if I want this p dot intro, if I want to have a event called say click, right? All I have to do is declare it like dollar p dot intro dot click off. Okay, this will call the corresponding yeah, this will enable the particular selection of that particular event. Likewise, all the mouse events, keyboard events, form events, and document window events are as follows. And moving ahead, there are some important methods that are used in your jQuery. Let me summarize it. Say for example, number one is going to be text method, second is going to be your HTML method, and third one is going to be your value method. Text is used to retrieve the text part of a particular HTML. Say for example, in between a division tag you might have a content. If I want to retrieve the text part of it, let me use the text method. And if I want to retrieve the HTML part along with it, I can use HTML method of. And val, I use it for forms where I get the value from the text boxes. And also for setting also we are going to use the same val, and I'm going to pass the parameters. Likewise, it is also true for text and HTML also. Let me repeat once again. So text is used to retrieve the text part between a particular tags, and if I want to set a text also, I can pass it into this particular function. So getting, I am going to use only text off, and for setting I'll pass text along with the corresponding uh, variable. Okay, so let me quickly go to an example such that you might understand how your jQuery is going to work. So let me open up my Visual Studio Code, and here is a sample code for it. Okay, so what is the first thing required for your jQuery? So jQuery, you have to include the library. So this is point number one, which is mandated. So where you're going to, how you're going to include it, you might download that particular JS file and you can have it in your local directory. This is way number one. Way number two, you can use the CDN method, wherein you're going to refer the online library right through your internet connection, but it has its own pros and cons. For this method, the internet should be on in your system, hence it's going to work, else it's not going to work. Okay, so I am here, I'm going to use my CDN method. So I'm using the script tag and I'm saying where my source is. So my source is going to be this particular jQuery file. This is mandated, the other two things are optional, other two attributes are optional. So once you have declared it, you can have your declaration made in another script tag, wherein it has to start with dollar, and here the selector is going to be the document dot ready. All your functions, all your declaration has to be between this particular tag. Okay, this particular function. So let me make it like this for your quick reference. So quickly make a note if you want. So your JavaScript requires two major functionalities. One is the declaration of the jQuery, and second is the declaration of the ready method. All the content which you have to get it work has to be declared in this ready method. So inside this ready method only you will be putting in all your functions and other stuff, right? So here what happens inside your ready method is we are declaring an anonymous function. Why anonymous function? You can even use your own declaration function, but it's preferred that you have to declare a function, and inside this function only you will be declaring all your desired events, call or function calls, all those things inside. So let me quickly put it in. So it's always advised to be doing step by step with the bracket closed. So document ready should have an anonymous function, and between this anonymous function only you are going to declare whatever content you are going to have. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is, let me create a button. Okay, on clicking that button, let me say have a pop out button popped out. So this is my objective. Let me say hi and let me save it. Okay, so what I'm going to do, on click of this button, I want to say hi. So how do I do it in jQuery? Let's quickly see. I'm going to refer this particular button using this particular identifier. So this identifier, I can use the ID selector, that is hash and the corresponding ID name. So it's going to be hash bt1, and here the event is going to be dot click off. Here if you could clearly see the difference between JavaScript and jQuery, it's going to be the declaration on click is not uh, defined in the attribute as such in your JavaScript. Like you do it like this and call the function call. This is not going to work like this. Rather, you are supposed to declare the events inside the ready function. So here I'm going to say what is going to happen when this button is being clicked. So I'm going to call in a function, and as usual, any function you declare a anonymous function, and inside this anonymous function you can have something called alert hi, right? So let me try this particular thing, it's working or not, right? So on clicking of a button, let this particular pop out hi should come in. Let's check it out. So this is my page. So here when I click this particular button, the hi message is being popped out. Likewise, jQuery enables you to have lots and lots of events, and it has multiple built-in functions such that you can use it for retrieving and saving, right? So this is one of the basic example for you to work on to test out whether your jQuery is working or not. So this could be a simple testing method you can opt for. And so in this experiment for jQuery, you will be asked to do two parts. One is getting data from a form and displaying it out. This is your one part of the question. The second part of the question is doing animation using your jQuery. So first thing, let me show you how you could do a form validation using your jQuery, right? So let me open up the code for it, right? So it's like the regular declaration, your text box you are going to create, your password, your login credentials, right? So username and password I'm going to have. I have declared uname and pass as the unique identifier for those things, and I have two set of buttons. One is submit button and is going to be a reset button. So let me, on click of this button, let me quickly get the data from the text box and try to display it out. So what I'm trying to do, inside the ready function, okay, I'm going to have the click event for the button function. So what I'm trying to do, I will first say get the value from the text box and display it in a alert box. So how do I do it? I call the alert function for calling the alert box. And how will I retrieve the value from the text box? If you remember, we have discussed three important properties, right? Not properties, your functions, that is your HTML, your text, and your val. Here what I'm going to use is I'm going to use val function. Okay, so this is going to retrieve the value of my particular say text box. So here it's going to be like this, right? I'm going to retrieve the text box value, that especially my username value, and I'm going to pop it out. So let me save it out and let me quickly run it and see. So what should happen, on click of a button I should be able to see my username popped out. Okay, this is one way of doing it out. And you might be wondering, how will I set a value for this text box, you might be wondering. So the reverse is also possible by setting the value as a parameter. Say for example, I can even declare my name if I want. If I want to set a value, this is how you're going to do it. So let me go over here. So let me try out whether this is working or not. Let me reset it. On click of a button, the name should be popped out, I mean the name value should come here. See, if you could see, this is how you're going to retrieve it out. Now your objective is now to get all the values from a complicated or a sophisticated form, right? Do some processing, maybe do some calculation with it. All the other JavaScript functions, variables, everything is applicable likewise. A simple thing is alone varies is everything is going to be called using your user defined functions, and all the functionality that are going to be used is going to remain same. So this is your first part of your exercises, and for your second part we are going to use some animation properties. Say for example, fade in, fade out, right? So what you can do with this is I can have a division tag, okay, and on click of a certain button, say for example on click of a submit button, let me hide a division tag which is over here. Okay, so I have a division tag here. So on click of a button, if I want to fade it out, right, I can call this particular function. Okay, it's going to be called as fade out. Okay, you could see the capital letter of out and small letter of f. Please be mindful of the methods which is being used. Okay, let's see what happens. Let me refresh the page, and on click of this button this should go away. Let's check it out. Okay, if you could see, the duration given was 2000 seconds, okay, milliseconds. That's why it took nearly 2 seconds to get vanished. Okay, and now to make it reappear, okay, what we can do is we can use a function called fade in. Okay, and let me do this on click of the next button. Okay, so the first thing what I do is I try to fade out while giving some submitting it out, and fade in I'll do it when clicking the cancel button. Okay, I'm saving it out, and now what I do, I go to my page and let's check it out once again. So on clicking this, for 2 seconds the thing vanishes, and when I say reset it should come out. So this is how you can use inbuilt functions of jQuery likewise, and you can use it for the your animation purpose and other stuff. So other important methods which we would have seen in our classes you can also apply. Say for example, show method, right, hide method, and there could be also multiple other functions that you could use with the jQuery. And kindly go through the guidelines given in your lab observation. and do the same. For further doubts and queries, kindly contact us in our class. Thank you for watching.